In Criterion A Strand 2, you have to construct a research plan. It needs to have the priority, and you need to say whether it's primary or secondary research in order to develop the solution to the problem. The solution that you're developing is a series of recipes using sustainable and local ingredients, and you're going to have to cook at least one of those recipes, crossing fingers that we'll be able to go back to school and you'll be able to share it with the class. So um, that's the really important part. And so for this research table, you need to think about what do you need to know in order to be able to create your own recipes. Using other recipes for inspiration is okay, and to cook those recipes. This is a table, an example table. You can do your table differently if you want to, but this is just an example. Here in red, I've given you an example of what I'm looking for. Important, I need to see what the question is. So for example, what are the common features of recipes and cookbooks? I need to see what the priority is. I said this priority is 5 because I can't write a recipe without knowing what should be in the recipe layout. 5 is high priority. And this is secondary research because I'll be searching on the internet. Remember that primary research comes from people. Secondary research is basically everything else. So for example, for primary research, if you wanted to know what kinds of foods are popular in Azerbaijan and you ask a friend from Azerbaijan, then that would be primary research. If you want to know what foods are popular in Azerbaijan and you look it up on Google, that is secondary research. Okay? Primary from people, secondary is basically everything else. So in this example, what are the common features of recipes in cookbooks? Priority 5, secondary. This could also say common features of recipes on the internet. And I looked it up. Here are my sources. And I found that a title, an introduction to the recipe called a head note, ingredients list, the steps. So I got that from this source, Drum. So I have my EndNote citation. And then I also discovered that you might want the yield, which is how many people it serves, the list of ingredients and amounts, the steps, which is the same as the steps that I found in the other source, the equipment, the temperature and time, and an optional nutritional analysis. And I got that from this second source that didn't have an author, but the URL is contained in the citation. I've put my citations here. And then I've given you guys another question that I think it's important for you to answer, but I haven't given you sources for it. What foods are locally grown in Azerbaijan? This is important because I'm asking you to create recipes that use foods from Azerbaijan. Okay, I need you to come up with at least 2 more questions for this table. You can do many more. Think about, do you know how to cook? Because maybe you need to understand how your oven works. That would be a research question. And the primary research would be talking to whoever uses the oven in your house. So think about those things. You may not know what recipe you want to create yet. So questions about that might be something that you want to use. Think about the season. We're entering spring, so you might be able to find what vegetables are available in the spring. I've got some videos on the unit site that you could watch that will help you. And then whatever other research you come across to determine what ingredients will be suitable for your recipe. Okay. Also note, and we'll talk about this more in Criterion B, that imported ingredients need to be less than 5% of the ingredients. So for example, if you're doing a stir fry and you need to put a little soy sauce on, that's okay because that's a very small addition. But the primary ingredients should not be something that are imported from other countries because we want to try to make something that's sustainable and local so that we're putting less of a burden on the environment. That's it. That is Strand 2. So you need to come up with 2 more questions, priority, primary or secondary, and then put a short summary of the research that you found in the table.